This is Michael Hibbs' facility in Stephenville, Texas, which is just down the road, about 90 miles from Abilene. He is currently gathering together a galaxy reference library from which we're going to launch IASC supernova search campaigns. We've already tested out the protocol and how we want to do that, and I think we will be in a position to start some of these campaigns by the end of this year. One of our astronomers suggested a slight change in the cadence in how we gather the data, and we're going to try out looking for TNOs as well. You look for Neptunian objects the same way you look for asteroids or Kuiper belt objects, except the time interval between your images is longer because they're moving so much more slowly. And Michael also uses a survey instrument. He does MBA follow-ups for us, main belt asteroid follow-ups. We know that you can find supernovas. This was a supernova discovered by Baum Holmes and Harlan DeVore in 2006. Here was the galaxy in the reference library. Here is the galaxy a month later. And there's this attraction showing you the differential residual light, and that residual light left over is the supernova. You can see the supernova hanging out here to the side. This is some data that Bob provided us using that same telescope, only a 16-inch telescope, that we presented to students in a program I do at Berkeley during May term. And the very first set of images we got were these two, and lo and behold, there's a supernova somewhere in there. Can you find it? We found, well, up there.
Right on the cloudy ice. Is that?
Well, you're looking for supernovas now.
No, that's true. Top level.
I don't know. It might be.
There's one here mid-range, right?
In fact, Carl was sitting next to me when we discovered this. I blinked before him and said, "Hi, Carl."
Is it right there? Middle, right, sort of right.
That's it. Unfortunately, we were 4 days late in reporting it. It turned out another group at UC Berkeley had found it 4 days earlier. So we missed discovering that supernova. It's in this galaxy. You can see it looking back right there.
Patrick, I just want to let you know Glenn dialed in. Brian Mendez is dialed in.
Oh, good.
Hi, Glenn.
Hello.
Hello, Glenn. We were using your name in vain. In fact, Gustav is here, and we were talking about your collaboration during the last Pan-STARRS campaign. Finally, the Astronomers Without Borders, we have plans to support the April 2011 Global Astronomy Month, but there was a problem in India where we were going to run this support program. And so we postponed it until April of 2012. And just 2 weeks ago, we ran some pilot tests, testing to see whether or not this will work. It now works, and we're now ready to go with the Global Astronomy Month coming next April. What we'll do is we'll provide, a couple of things. We're going to provide a 15-school asteroid search campaign just for schools that are selected by Astronomers Without Borders. So they'll sign up through that organization and then participate in a special campaign that will run throughout the month of April. The other thing we're going to do is we're using, in a collaboration with Frank Pino, his internet accessible telescopes, and we're going to run sessions for 20 of the schools out of India, serving about 80 students. We're also talking to the House of Astronomy out of Heidelberg, and they want to include students in this project as well. As I mentioned to you just a couple of weeks ago, we ran some Skype test sessions modeling after Mankiewicz. Mankiewicz, who's been doing this for many, many years with schools in Poland and schools around in other countries as well. And so he advised us on how we ought to do this. And so we ran the pilot tests, and we ran two student sessions that we did a teacher training session. We ran 2 student sessions with 4 schools and 16 students. Each session lasted 2 hours. And we showed you earlier, these are some of the photographs they took. These were done with a 10-inch, French 10-inch. The different deep sky objects. We also took some asteroid images, and they linked them back and forth to see the target. And there was our observation log for one of the July 17th observing sessions. In closing, not all is work at IASC. One of my favorite times of the year is November, because November I get to design the IASC reading card. And we try to write these in native languages and send them out to all the participants in IASC who participated over the previous 12 months. Actually, I got the idea from Ana Costa out of Portugal. She sent me a greeting card in Portuguese 3 years ago, and I thought, well, we can do this in IASC. This is the one we sent out last year in Polish. You got what that says? Well, if you're not adept at reading Polish, let's try this one. This one is India. And finally, this one may be a little bit easier to read. It says, just 1 seat left, let's go confirm your asteroids. Happy holidays, International Astronomical Research Collaboration. I can't end the presentation without showing you this. Let me bring your attention to that blur there. That's a moving asteroid in the main belt, and it's asteroid number 4984. And 2 weeks ago, it was named Patrick Miller. Now, yesterday I learned that there are other people who played important roles in IASC that have asteroids named after them. So look, I would be remiss if I don't show you these as well. This is Vivian Hetty. It started here at Yerkes, and she's honored guest in this IASC Hall of Fame. This is Bob Holmes, who's the observatory director, Asteroid Holmes, the observatory director who provides us the vast majority of the data, at least has since the start of the program. This is Viborjo. Tomas Viborjo is our IASC volunteer in England, and he is responsible for the data analysis and confirming the discoveries made by students. Without him, we simply couldn't be as successful at IASC as we are. So he recently had an asteroid named his honor as well. And this one you'll hear more about. IASC had nothing to do with this, but Leonid Alinin is a longtime IASC volunteer. And last December, Leonid, he's a researcher at the Russian Academy of Sciences out of Moscow. He discovered a comet, and it was the first comet discovered by anybody from Russia in over 20 years. And it will pass pretty close to the Earth sometime in September or October time frame. And it might put on a shell. It comes in from it comes in from the Oort cloud. Those are notoriously fickle when they get close to the sun, so we're not sure what would happen. There's a cult that's developed around this. If you do a Google search on Lenin, there's a cult that's developed around this comet, claiming it's going to do dastardly things as it sweeps past the Earth. You see, ELE, the first 3 letters in Lenin's name stand for extinction level of events. If you read his name backwards, it spells the number 9. Apparently, some kind of disaster.
Also, Lenin,
yeah.
Lenin and the clock. So I got a call at Hardin Simmons one day from a lady in Dallas. Now, Dallas is 3 hours away from Abilene, and she wanted to come to my classes at Hardin Simmons. Wanted to commute. I said, well, that's crazy. I said, just right across town are probably even better astronomy classes to attend and activities you can participate in. You don't need to come to Abilene every day. She said, well, aren't you the guy who does the asteroids with the kids? And I said, yeah. Well, come to find out, she was a leader of one of these cults, and she was digging for information, trying to find out whether or not Lenin really exists. And I got emails and other calls from people asking about this. So I notified the Hardin Simmons Public Affairs Office and said, getting closer to October, you're probably going to get some of these calls. So just be prepared. Anyway, we're very proud of Lynn. As a matter of fact, he discovered a second comet about a week ago. And that is Isaac, and where we are currently at and where we are headed.
One question: how do the work that you do, how does that compare with computers who are trying to find answers in the same image?
That's an interesting question because we did some tests for Pan-STARRS and found out that Tomas was better than their computers. He could see things. As a matter of fact, there's a story. When Pan-STARRS was gearing up, getting started, they divided the solar system into two parts: Jupiter and inward, what they call the inner solar system, and then out past Jupiter, called the outer solar system. Outer solar system is handled at Harvard, and the inner solar system is handled at the University of Hawaii. And they were writing a common software package to do these computer searches, and there was some kind of rift that took place, it still exists, between the Harvard people and the University of Hawaii people. So the University of Hawaii people went on and finished their work. Meanwhile, the Harvard people didn't, and had to search this stuff manually. So Isaac came along, and during the first campaign, the Harvard people were very worried that these high school students were going to discover something that they missed. And so we had to pre-screen, we still have to pre-screen these things before we release the images. We have to know that there's not any slow movers in there, or the slow movers, not any possible outer solar system candidates. And I said, besides, they're kind of rare, nobody would find them. And I said, well, if anybody can find them, Tomas will. And they said, no, we don't think so. The next week, Tomas found a centaur, and people got so upset at Hawaii that we had to pull that image out of the data set and not release it to the schools and pretend that it didn't exist.
No.
Well, we called Bob and said, could you do a follow-up? So it turns out that, as with any computer-based system, it has its faults. And, we did find an NEO. The NEO that Gustav and Lynn found, Lynn Reagan's group, was missed by the system. And so they tell us, well, anything you find that we miss, you can have, except the stuff that's part of it, you can't have it. And we've also, because of our changing procedure, they've changed some of their protocol on how they do their searches because of IASC. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Please stand by.